Welcome back, everybody. Let's take a break with Stephen Shamus.
Good to see you, my friend. We just saw you in LA. That was a nice little trip we had.
Yep. A nice little fun signing, little non-busy signing you had there.
Yeah, it was good seeing you. Always good to see you.
Yes.
On the West Coast. So what do we got
Fun
today,
and fun.
Alex?
We're doing a James Gunn roundup because his movie announcements, of course, broke everything. Even DC's ability to print trade paperbacks in time for an announcement. And then we're going to talk Forgive Me, Father. So we're going to do Forgive Me, Father. We're going to do Authority. We're going to talk Brave and the Bold, the Batman miniseries that James Gunn wants to do with Damian Wayne. And then we're going to talk about Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow.
Yeah, a nice mix. And these books have jumped crazy. So we'll get into it, and you'll get into which of the storylines to focus on. So what are we starting off with today?
Forgive Me, Father, an indie darling, if you will.
Yeah, from Creature Entertainment. Talk to me about this title, Alex. What is this title?
Yeah, it's very interesting, which sounds to me like it's going to be picked up soon, but I have a feeling that right now people are buying it for the Jeff Deckel covers. But it's a priest who is befriends a girl, gets murdered, and he kind of breaks, and he goes on this kind of like, not like a rampage, but he definitely goes on a killing spree of trying to figure out what happened and why.
The priest goes on this killing
spree. The priest does, yeah. So it's an interesting story. I love the title, Forgive Me, Father, being about a priest.
That is funny.
But the covers are amazing. Jeff Deckel covers are amazing, and I think it's one of those things that it's just ripe to be picked up as a property, and people are just speculating heavily right now.
Got it. Yeah. So books are going crazy on it.
Yes.
Forgive Me, Father, #1. The Patrick Riley cover is only a $5 raw book. The Jeff DeCal comic exposure, these don't have pops on them. That's why I'm just reading out the pricing. Yep. Jeff DeCal comic exposure variant cover is a $40 raw book. The Greg Narvasa 1 in 5 red variant cover is a $200 raw book. Then there's the Ulysses Carpintero cover is a $5 raw book. That's one of the basic covers. And then there's the Ulysses Carpintero 1 in 5 red variant cover, and that's $100 raw. So these books have gone absolutely bonkers. Just keep an eye out for them. I don't think you're going to see these in dollar boxes because they're brand new books. So I would just keep your eyes peeled, I guess, right?
Yeah. Just look them up. Find them, go in and kind of see if there's an indie section and look them through for sure.
Now the next title we're going to talk about is unquestionably in $1 boxes, maybe in 25-cent boxes.
It was, yes, it definitely was.
There is no doubt these were in 25-cent by the pound boxes.
The Authority,
Alex,
yeah,
it is so funny. It's absolutely astonishing. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. Authority, which is a super surprise, but maybe not knowing what James Gunn's into and what he reads. But yeah, these books were very much maybe Stormwatch, the first appearance, maybe that was a $10-20 book. Maybe. Authority #1, nah, it's a $5 book. You find it. I bet you I could go to an old comic store right now that wasn't paying attention and they're sitting in the bins. But Authority movie, who's
the Authority? Who is it?
So Authority is kind of like a fake Justice League, right? So the first two is the Superman archetype, which is Apollo, and then Midnighter, who is the Batman archetype. They've been in the DC regular books right now. They're also lovers, which is fantastic because it's some of the first LGBTQ representation. But it's a team with Jack Hawksmoor, Jenny Sparks, Apollo, Midnighter, the Doctor, and it's all like kind of crazy things. Like Jenny Sparks is electricity. Jack Hawksmoor could talk to cities. Like, it's Warren Ellis at his best. But they were essentially a Justice League who would do anything to keep the world safe. So you're looking at kind of like, more a killing the boys type team, but for good. So it's a very fun sci-fi story.
I wonder what drove them on the Authority. By the way, these books went crazy overnight.
Yeah, overnight, literally overnight. Yeah,
like it's like dollar box. Everyone's buying them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can do a Superman movie, but he can't really kill people. Although Man of Steel, he did kill, but maybe that's why that movie didn't do so well. But With this, you can have Superman and Batman killing people.
Crazy. Okay. Yeah. So Stormwatch Volume 2, number 4, February of 1998. And they printed a lot of copies of these books. So don't kid yourself. Okay. 55 9.8. It's a $600 book now, Alex. $600 for that book. That's another book you missed. That you definitely passed
Absolutely.
those up.
And I've read that book and I don't have it. Yeah.
By the way, you're right. I've held those books in my hand and we probably threw them in the we probably threw them in the garbage.
Yeah, those are sold as bundles at shops. No big deal.
Bundles, Alex. Yeah. Okay. The Authority #1, May of 1999, DC Wildstorm, 42 9.8, $550.
Hey.
Warren Ellis story, Brian Hitch and Paul Neary cover and art. Oh, by the way, the Stormwatch Volume 2, number 4 is the first appearance of Apollo and Midnighter.
Yeah,
Warren Ellis story, Brian Hitch. Yeah. Right. Okay. So $550 for Authority #1 now, Alex.
Jeez, that's
crazy.
Absolutely crazy. It's crazy. Absolutely.
Okay. Volume 2, #1, July of 2003. There's only 4 9.8. It's only a $5 raw book, but those are going up. They're probably not going to be basing it on that storyline, which is why I think you're seeing it at that level. Robbie Morrison story, Dwayne Turner and Sal Regla cover and art. They're probably using the Warren Ellis story is my bet. Then this one's interesting because it's Grant Morrison. So they could possibly use the Grant Morrison storyline.
Yeah.
So this one's an interesting one to me. Volume 4, #1, December of 2006 is Grant Morrison. There's only 1 9.8. Those are $15 plus raw. So that could be a sleeper because they could use the Grant Morrison storyline.
Right. We don't know what storyline yet. Yeah.
Correct. Then you have the Arthur Adams 1 in 50 sketch cover, 49 9.8s, 1 9.9. That's about $100 book. Arthur Adams regular variant cover, 22 9.8s, 2 9.9s. That's about $100 book. So, yeah, those books just went absolutely bonkers.
Yes.
Overnight.
Yep.
Funny enough. All right. Pick of the week. What do you got for us, Alex?
This is going to be an easy one because we're going to be talking about the singles towards the end of the show. But I want to talk about essentially when things like the James Gunn announcements go out and people are like, oh, I've never read that, or I don't know what that is. Let me go buy it. And we saw it a little bit with like the WandaVision stuff and all the kind of the early Marvel TV shows, the Loki of like, okay, WandaVision's coming out. Is the Vision by Tom King available in trade paperback? No, it's not. Is the Scarlet Witch by James Robinson available in trade paperback? No, it's not. So what happened is James Gunn announced all these movies and these graphic novels of stuff that, you know, should be perennials. Like Authority should always be in print. Like, I don't know why that would be out of print. I don't know why Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, that was a book that came out
because they weren't selling ago. Them. It's all sales, Alex. You know that. It's all sales.
And even with the announcement, the trade paperbacks are sold out everywhere. You can't find them. So where do you go? You go to eBay. And now they're double the price. You know, these trade paperbacks are $20 books right now. If you find it in a store, on eBay, they're $40-$50 because no one can find them. So
it's funny, right?
You know, it's when you see an announcement happen, I think the best bet for you to do is to hear the announcement and to put whatever you have on eBay, because more than likely it's going to be sold out at the stores. Like, I know my store carried probably like one trade paperback, a handful of issues, but you know, no one's buying a lot of these. And of course everybody wants it. So you go to reorder it, but they're all sold out because everybody did the same thing. So,
yeah.
And it takes about 4 months to get things back in print. So by the time these are back in print, people have forgotten. So
you think they would coordinate it, right?
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. I hear you. All right. So, okay. What's the next James Gunn?
Brave and the Bold, the Batman, the Damian Wayne stuff.
Yeah. Grant Morrison. That's why I think the Authority might use the Grant Morrison, because maybe he has an infatuation with Grant Morrison.
Yeah. He loves. Oh, I mean, how could you not?
Yeah. So we've talked about Damian before, but now the prices have elevated and this is a different reason. So we normally don't like to repeat what we've talked about, but this is something new and different, and the prices have gone crazy. So talk about the Grant Morrison run, because it runs through a whole bunch of titles from Batman and then DC Universe, that whole run of Grant Morrison. Yeah. And maybe just talk about Grant Morrison.
Yeah. I mean, Grant Morrison, probably one of the biggest, you know, comic writers out of the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s kind of comic scene. It just kept pumping him out. And of course they've given him everything and whatever he wants. JLA, Batman, pretty much Superman, like they've given him whatever he wants. This is fun because this introduced a new Robin, which was Damian Wayne, which is the son of Batman, Bruce Wayne, and Talia al Ghul, who was essentially drugged and had an heir that he didn't know about until Damian. I think he's 8 when he sees him. But Talia al Ghul raises him as an assassin, as she would, because they're an Al Ghul. And Damian decides he wants to leave and be trained by his father, who's Batman. And, one of these, when you introduce like kids to like continuity and stuff, sometimes it gets erased. Sometimes it turns out like the baby is not real and it's something else. But with Superman and now Damian Wayne both having children in the regular DCU, and they've been around for years, the staying power is there. Big book, fun books. Damian Wayne's, I think he's been in a bunch of animated stuff. And I think he's like one of those just kind of like people like Damian Wayne. Like you don't have to not like all the other Robins, but he's staying around for a while.
Yeah, so these books have gone crazy again, and the pops are pretty high. So Batman 655, there are 954 9.8s. That's about a $400 book. First appearance of Damian and cameo on the last 2 pages of the story. Joker appearance, Talia al Ghul, cameo, Grant Morrison story, Andy Kubert art. Then there's the Adam Kubert variant cover. That one's very, very hot. There's 338 9.8s. That's about a $600 book. Then Batman 656, the first full appearance of Damian and Talia al Ghul, appearances, 437 9.8s. That's about $300. Then Batman 657, following issue, there's 159 9.8s. That's about $225. That's Robin versus Damian. Again, all Grant Morrison. This is all Grant Morrison. Then Batman 658, there are 47 9.8s, and that's about $100. And then the storyline, and this is where it gets interesting, Alex, because you don't know where they're going to pull from. You don't know if they're going to pull from the first issue, from the 20th issue, like they did with WandaVision. It's a long
run,
right? The White Vision. Remember, they had the White Vision, and boom, that book went crazy. So my suggestion is buy all the books. They're very inexpensive. They're cover priced, maybe a little bit more. Batman 663 to 683 are Grant Morrison. They're all very cheap. DC Universe number 0, number 30, and number 47 are all Grant Morrison. If you can find those, pick them up. They're going to be cheap. You just don't know which of the storylines are going to get picked for the TV show.
Yeah, you won't, and you won't until maybe like what, a year, 2 years from now.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so buy now, sell later. Yeah,
stick them in the closet. Okay, all right. What are we closing with tonight, Alex?
Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, kind of out of left field, but once you see it, you understand it.
Okay, so talk a little bit about Tom King and that storyline of Women of Tomorrow. Why that storyline?
Yeah, interesting thing out of the James Gunn stuff is he had Tom King kind of in the writer's room and pitch's room and like helping them kind of move. It's nice to see a comic guy with the movie guys kind of figuring things out. And Tom King is a perennial hit maker. I mean, with started with Vision and then just kind of moved down the road. He's done Batman, he's Supergirl, he's done Human Target, Rorschach. Like it just keeps going. Everything he does is good. 12 issues done. Supergirl Woman Tomorrow is just, it's crazy because like the art is not like a Supergirl story at all. It's a very sci-fi Supergirl who is kind of trapped on Earth, not having anything to do other than being a Supergirl, gets kind of brought up in this alien this alien's mission where someone has destroyed her planet like Krypton, and this alien knows that they're still out there and she needs help fighting them and bringing them down. But it's a sci-fi fantasy piece. I mean, it's huge. I mean, it was right after Mr. Miracle and everything, and it did okay in the shops. It wasn't bad. People didn't hate it, but now that it's becoming a movie and it's been announced and Tom King definitely has a hand in it, these books have gone out of control.
Okay. Supergirl World of Tomorrow number 1, August of 2021. There are 22 9.8s. Those were selling for $75 at the time. They're going to be much, much, much higher now. Tom King story, Bilkis Evely cover and art. There's the blank sketch cover. There's only 4 9.8s, so those are about cover price. Then there's the Gary Frank variant cover. There are 20 9.8s. $65, and then issues 2 through 8, they're raw, they're all cover price. You want to buy them because again, you don't know where they're going to pick out from the storylines, and again, you're years away from seeing the stuff on the screen. So
there's only 8 comics. Buy them. Buy all 8. There's only 8 comics ever. That's it. Just buy them. Yeah, you never know.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us today. It was a pleasure having you. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the field below. Otherwise, we will see you all next week. Same bat time.
Same bat channel.